Poetry Out Loud is an opportunity for you to understand yourself a little bit better and to share with somebody else the great and amazing person you are.
And I will be reciting Zacuan Papalotos by Brenda Cardenas.
Poetry Out Loud is a national recitation contest. High school students nationwide are asked to select a poem from a published poet. They're asked to commit that poem to memory, and then they are asked to recite that poem, that's where we get the recitation contest from. Students are scored according to a common rubric that's used nationally, that scores them on things like poise, voice and articulation, evidence of understanding, and those kinds of things. And it's been a wonderful addition to Nevada County since we've been doing it for over a decade now.
A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream to the current ends and dips his wing in the orange sun.
For us, poetry is not an elusive, esoteric art form. It's incredibly accessible. Poetry comes in many, many forms, and part of the process of Poetry Out Loud is that each student gets to open an anthology of poetry that's been especially selected by the National Endowment for the Arts. It's a book, it's a printed book, and it's available online. So a student can actually choose from multiple genres of poetry, of writing, choose a poem that's right for them, and then learn to recite it. And for us, that means that poetry becomes accessible. Once a student has learnt their poem off by heart, an incredible sort of form of creative expression is available to them. And it's really, I can only say that learning to recite a poem is like nothing else. It literally transports you, and you tap into some sort of creative freedom that you never knew was there. When you read a poem, it's something else. We have incredible poets that come from far and wide to our festival, and they read their own poems. But when you recite a poem, it's completely different. You have it for life, you own it, it's yours. It's very exciting. And California Arts Council work with National Endowment for the Arts to present the opportunity of Poetry Out Loud statewide each year for all California students. So part of our mission is making sure that students, teachers, and administrators and parents know about Poetry Out Loud every year. And then we go into the schools and work with the kids, with the classroom teachers, and have fun.
Since this is a national competition, California has to send a representative to Washington, D.C. for those national finals, and this is how that process happens. It starts at the school level, so many high schools around will ask students to do this through their English class most often. Here in our county, that's fairly common. We have a large percentage of our students who select a poem to recite as part of their final for their English class in English 9, 10, 11, or 12. So once students do that recitation for their English teacher in front of their class and are scored on that same rubric that's used nationally, after students are scored, as the Poetry Out Loud coordinator, I receive the scores from all participating teachers in the school, and I invite those students to participate in a school-wide competition. So after the school-wide competitions are complete, depending on the size of the participating school, the school will send between 2 or 5 students to participate in the county-wide competition. This is a big event for our county that takes place at the end of January. Once students get to the county competition, that's when it really gets exciting. We have a big event here, usually at the end of January, where we invite all the participants from the area schools to come down and compete for the title of county champion. Students recite 2 poems that evening, which is really exciting. And at the end of that evening, we tally up the scores, and we invite one winner and a runner-up to represent Nevada County at the statewide competition in Sacramento, which takes place about 6 weeks later.
So Nevada County Arts Council, as state local partner, part of our job is making sure that all arts organizations within the county are represented at the level of state, and that we understand for Nevada County what the opportunities are within the broad context of arts within the nation through California Arts Council. And Poetry Out Loud is possibly one of our most special programs. We've been leading on Poetry Out Loud just for 1 year now, and the first year saw us present finalists from Poetry Out Loud at Sierra Poetry Festival. Sierra Poetry Festival is brand new within Nevada County, and it's not bound to Nevada County. So we work not only with our local poets, and we have a very rich literary arts tradition in Nevada County, but we also invite some of our most exciting poets from across the region, across the state, across the nation, and internationally to come here to Nevada County. And the connection with Poetry Out Loud is that, as I mentioned, we have finalists from our classrooms in Nevada County come and speak alongside these celebrity poets, if you like, at our Sierra Poetry Festival. We also showcase our Poetry Out Loud finalists and participants at multiple arts events throughout National Poetry Month every year, and then National Poetry Month is April. So it's a very exciting lead up to Sierra Poetry Festival. And of course that doesn't take into account that our Poetry Out Loud finalists will have an opportunity to present and recite at the state capitol each year alongside every finalist from every county across California. So it's the most aspirational program for kids in Nevada County. It's the most exciting thing and so accessible.
At the state competition is where you find some real energy and enthusiasm from these participants. These are students who are representing counties all over California, and they convene in Sacramento, California, and they come in on a Sunday. Usually the competition's Sunday and Monday. So on Sunday, they get a chance to meet students from other counties. They have a lot of get-to-know-you activities, and our past participants have said it's a really exciting time for them. And so we, after they've mingled and met each other, they will go to the Crest Theater and perform their first poem. After they've all completed their first poem, the county winners will go back to usually the Sheraton Hotel, or a hotel that the Poetry Out Loud folks put them and their parent or guardian up in. And the next day, on Monday, they get up, they have a nice breakfast, and they take a walk over to the Capitol building, and they prepare for round 2 of the statewide competition. That takes place in the Senate chambers or the Assembly chambers, so it's a really cool place for students to recite. After the students have recited their second poem, as has happened in years past, sometimes there's a tie and students have to actually perform a third poem. So at the national level, that's when things really take off, because now we get an all-expense trip paid to Washington, D.C., there's scholarship money available, and it's basically the same as the statewide competition, except instead of counties that are competing, it's states that are competing. So representatives from states across the nation convene, and students do the same thing they did at the county competition. But the judges are usually of a, sort of a celebrity type status in the educational community, and there's lots of time for getting to know the students, getting to know Washington, D.C. We're really hopeful to send one someday.
Or Oreo. Or worse, or ordinary, or your choice of category, or color, or any color.
Diameter by Michelle Y. Burke. You love your friend. So you fly across the country to see her.
Once the school competition's over and you are preparing as a student for the county-wide competition or the school-wide competition, we have some wonderful folks that serve as poets in schools and that come and coach. We have students come in during enrichment time. We have poets who come in to help out during enrichment time. We have poets who come in and help out after school or at lunch. They'll make appointments one-on-one, and they really, really want our students to succeed.
So one of the reasons that we created Sierra Poetry Festival was because we knew that we would be leading on Poetry Out Loud, and we wanted to create something more within the community that connected students, young people, with some of our more professional poets. Because we felt that there needed to be an ebb and flow, a movement, a conversation within the community that connected young people with our literary arts world. We have an incredible poetry community here. You will know that Gary Snyder. It's well known. He lives here among our community. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning poet. He was the first ever chairman of California Arts Council, handpicked by our governor, Jerry Brown. And he's right here. He read poetry for us at one of our events leading up to the Sierra Poetry Festival last year. He's very generous in spirit. With that kind of lineage in our literary arts community here, we felt poetry and Poetry Out Loud needed to connect in. So for us, Poetry Out Loud is one thing, but it also is a vehicle for helping our young people get connected with the poetry community at large. In a way, I think it's a critical message to all our students in Nevada County. Remember, we live in a rural area. We are miles from sophisticated urban cultural centers which have resources and funding that we just simply don't have access to here in Nevada County. Use every opportunity you can to tap into the kinds of programs that will give you tools for life.
If you're interested in Poetry Out Loud, which I hope you are, you will most likely experience Poetry Out Loud and experience even some lessons in poetry and lessons in recitation through your English class. If you want to get started right now, again, what I said is so important is finding that poem that speaks to you. Please go on the Poetry Out Loud website, just type in poetryoutloud.org and explore the poems by poet, by theme, by alphabetical order, and try to find that poem that speaks to you. Commit it to memory, and you'll get lots of practice in your English class. And I really hope that you participate, and I'm sure you'll have a great time with it.
Really urge students to take responsibility. You know that Poetry Out Loud is available to you. Call us, let us know that you, even if you're a singular student in a single school and you haven't heard about this from your English teacher, call us and we'll come and make sure that we're available to coach you in readiness for for your school championships or our county championships. We don't want to miss out, and we don't want you to feel that we've left a stone unturned. We're here for you.
Thank you very, very much for coming. Thanks to Chris Olander for emceeing. Thank you all for coming out. I'm going to be inviting you to do your poems at all those things that Eliza talked about, this year Poetry Festival, the STEAM Expo, our board meetings here. So you have not seen the last of me. And I hope I haven't seen the last of you. All right. Have a great night, everybody.